Faith tested again, when miracles bring new challenges. The story continues, Part 2. The house was no longer silent. No longer filled with the weight of unanswered prayers. Laughter echoed in the rooms, tiny feet pattered across the floor, and little cries filled the nights. Sarah and Daniel's home had finally become what they had dreamed of, a place of joy. They named their daughter Miracle, because that was exactly what she was. A testament to God's faithfulness. But they soon realized that while their battle with barrenness was over, their journey of faith had only just begun. The challenges of parenthood after 10 years of waiting. Sarah had spent years dreaming of motherhood, but now that it was here, it was nothing like she expected. Miracle was a fussy baby, always crying, hardly sleeping. The exhaustion hit Sarah like a storm. The same hands that had spent years lifted in prayer were now trembling from sleepless nights. One night, after hours of trying to soothe her wailing daughter, Sarah broke down. Tears streamed down her face as she rocked Miracle in her arms. Daniel woke up and rushed to her side. "Sarah, what's wrong?" She sniffed, trying to wipe her tears. "I love her, Daniel. I love her more than anything. But I'm so tired. I don't know if I'm doing this right." Daniel cupped her face gently. "You prayed for this, remember? And I know it's hard, but God gave her to us because He knew we could handle it." Sarah nodded, but the exhaustion remained. Then came the fear. Every fever, every cough, every small illness sent Sarah into panic. "What if something happens to her?" she whispered to Daniel one night as they lay in bed, Miracle sleeping between them. "Nothing will happen to her," Daniel reassured. "She's God's gift to us." But Sarah couldn't shake the anxiety. She had waited 10 years for this child. What if she lost her now? The test of faith continues. Just when life seemed to be settling, Daniel lost his job. The news hit them like a punch. Sarah stared at her husband, heart pounding. "What do we do now?" Daniel exhaled slowly. "We trust God." But trusting God was hard when there were bills to pay, mouths to feed, and a baby to care for. The whispers started again. See how they suffered for years to have a child, now they are suffering to keep her. Even at church, some people who once celebrated with them started keeping their distance. One Sunday after service, Sarah overheard two women talking. "I heard Daniel lost his job. And with a baby to feed, maybe they should have used their waiting years to build wealth instead of just praying." The words stung, but Sarah clenched her fists and walked away. That night, she and Daniel knelt in their living room, holding Miracle between them. "God, you gave us this blessing," Daniel prayed. "We won't believe that you brought us this far just to leave us struggling. Please, make a way for us." And God did. A week later, Daniel received an unexpected call. A job offer, better than the one he had lost. Their test of faith had birthed another testimony. A second miracle? Life slowly returned to normal. Sarah adjusted to motherhood, Daniel settled into his new job, and Miracle grew into a healthy, joyful toddler. Then, something unexpected happened. Sarah started feeling unwell, fatigue, nausea, dizziness. She brushed it off as stress from parenting. But when the symptoms persisted, a thought crept into her mind. Could it be? She hesitated to take the test. She didn't want to be disappointed. But the moment she saw the two pink lines, she gasped. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Another miracle." Daniel found her sitting on the bathroom floor, clutching the test. "Sarah? What is it?" She looked up at him, overwhelmed with emotion. "Daniel, I'm pregnant." For a moment, he was silent. Then he pulled her into a tight embrace. "God, you never fail." After 10 years of waiting for one child, they had conceived again, without any medical intervention. News spread fast. The same people who had once doubted them now marveled. Truly, when God blesses, He does it abundantly. Facing society again. While many rejoiced with them, not everyone was happy. Jealousy crept into some hearts. One evening, an old friend visited Sarah. She forced a smile, but her words were laced with bitterness. "So now you have 2 children. Must be nice. Some of us are still waiting." Sarah felt the sting of the comment. She had once been the one waiting, feeling forgotten. She reached for the woman's hand. "I know the pain of waiting," she said softly. "But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that God's time is always perfect. And when your time comes, it will be beautiful." The woman blinked back tears. "Do you really believe that?" Sarah smiled. "With all my heart. The final lesson. Months later, Sarah gave birth to a healthy baby boy. They named him Testimony, because that was what their entire journey had been. At the naming ceremony, Daniel held his son in his arms and looked around the room filled with friends, family, and even those who once mocked them. "Our story is proof that God never forgets his children," he said. "His timing may not be ours, but it is always perfect." Sarah, holding Miracle in her lap, added, "No matter how long the wait, when God finally moves, he does exceedingly above all we can ask or imagine." As their guests cheered and celebrated, Sarah looked at her growing family and whispered, "Thank you, Lord. It was all worth it." Admonition: trust God's timing. If you are in a waiting season, remember that Habakkuk 2 verse 3 says, "Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come." God's delays are not denials. He is writing a beautiful testimony for you. Keep trusting. Your miracle is on the way.